Hello everyone, welcome to William and the Magic Box. Today on our show, we are going to have Dale. Dale is from Tasmania in Australia, so let's see what Dale has to say. Enjoy the interview. Hello,
That's better.
good morning, how are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks so much for taking the time early morning for the interview. Oh my god, 7 o'clock in the morning.
That's okay. That's when I start work anyway, so.
Am I saying your name right? It's Dale?
Yes.
Okay. Dale, before we start the game, tell me where you're from.
Tasmania-Australia, more specifically Devonport.
Wow. And what's the best part of living there?
Quiet and country.
And what's the weather look like at the moment?
Pretty overcast at the moment. We've had some pretty odd summer weather the past couple of days with a pretty heavy downpour and some flooding, but that's pretty much Tassie weather for you, 4 seasons, 1 day.
Wow. And what do you do for a living?
I work for Driscoll's Berries. I pretty much look after the plant quality of all the material we send out to growers.
And what do you like the most about your job?
Probably I get to work on my own.
That's funny.
Yes, I have a team I work with that's about an hour away, but I like being able to control how my day pans out. If something changes last minute, I can just readjust things to what I do for the day.
I see. Okay, Dale, so just before we start our journey, William and the Magic Box, I would like you to tell me something interesting about yourself.
I have no idea. I guess I've lived in every state in Australia since I was 18, so that's,
Wow.
I guess, a bit interesting.
And why is that?
Tasmania is the only place I lasted.
And why you're
No,
traveling?
I originally it was just 18, young, didn't want to be in the little town that I grew up in anymore, so I kept moving until I found something that I liked, which took a fair while. But my family moved to the western side of Australia about 12 years ago, and I went with them for a period of time, but over there it's 50 degrees Celsius in summer and not for me. So I moved to the coldest part of Australia.
Very interesting. That's very interesting for sure. Right. Are you ready to go on a beautiful journey through your memories in life and to share your point of views?
Yep.
Welcome to William and the Magic Box. So I have here my lovely box full of random fun questions. I'm just gonna play a song now just for us to move a little bit before the first question, okay?
Yep.
I'm afraid it's not very loud, the music. I hope you can hear at least a little bit. Right, Dale. So just before I start the game, so through the journey, if there is a question that you don't have an answer for, you don't want to answer for some reason, I always can change, okay? It's all very friendly.
Yep.
First question for you is, tell me something negative that happened to you that came out as a positive thing in the end.
It's a bit of an odd one. I guess part of the negative would have been moving to Tasmania. Essentially, I moved away from my entire family, but since being here, I met my partner that I've been with for almost 6 years now, so that sort of turned into a bit of a positive. I've now got my own family over here as well.
And your partner is from Tasmania?
Yes.
Good. I could see your smile. Yes. And do you have siblings as well?
I have one older sister. She's a year older than me. She lives over in the western side of Australia with my mum and dad.
Very good. Next question. What are you drinking, by the way?
Coffee.
Next question for you is, what is your spirit animal?
My which, sorry?
Spirit animal.
Probably a cat. Lay in the sun all day and sleep.
And do you have a cat?
I have 4.
You have 4 cats. Oh, wow.
Yes.
Oh.
It was never supposed to be that way.
How old is the youngest and how old is the oldest?
Oldest is about 4 years old now, and youngest is 2 years.
And what's their names?
Emmett, Archie, Winston, and Nala.
Oh, that's sweet. Very sweet. We have one at home as well. His name is Tiger. And he's 1 year old. So sweet.
They are a little bit painful when they're kittens and climbing and chewing and scratching everything. It doesn't change. They still do it as an adult.
They do, for sure. Next one. Before the next question, Dale, tell me a little bit about what's the most challenging part of your job?
I guess part of it is because I work on my own. I'm also working in an area that no one's previously done before, so there's a few decisions that I have to make and call-outs that I have to make that I guess sometimes I don't feel educated enough to make those calls. Just a bit nerve-wracking sometimes, but so far all calls have gone well.
Good. Next question for you is, what keeps you up at night?
A lot of things. I'm a terrible sleeper to begin with, so I only sleep a few hours a night, but I have a bad habit of being very work orientated, so I may finish work at 6 o'clock in the evening, but I'll go home and I will sit there in my own head thinking of what I can do tomorrow, what can I do differently, and if it's getting to the point where I can't sleep, I'll get up and I'll get back on my work laptop and start working again.
Do you consider yourself a day or a night person?
Probably a bit of both, but I am a bit of a night owl these days.
I see. Next question. Let's do it. Next question, Dale from Tasmania. What makes you a unique person?
I'm just strange, straight out. I've got a twisted sense of humor, and I like to turn anything into a laugh. I don't like anything to be too serious.
Always been like that?
Pretty much. I think it probably started as a coping mechanism and then just turned into what I'm like in general.
Next question. Dale, before the next question, as you say about you have a partner, what's the most beautiful lesson you've learned from your partner so far?
That's hard. I've learned a lot through my partner. I guess probably to take life as it comes. Although I like to turn everything into humor, at the same time, I'm very much the sort of person that if something goes wrong, I tend to dwell on it, and it will end up sending me batshit crazy. But I guess my partner sort of taught me over time that you've just got to roll with the punches, take it as it comes. You can't fix everything.
I see. All right. Next question for you is, what makes you most uncomfortable about dating? As you're in a relationship right now, I'm gonna skip this one because you are already taken. Right. As a child, have you ever stolen anything, and how did it happen?
Yes, there was a occasion. It was a really odd one. My old primary school that I went to was closing down. They went bankrupt, and there was stuff inside the school that they wanted to keep that wasn't going to be sold at the bankruptcy account. And so I guess you could say, liberated those items for them, and then got caught.
Naughty.
Note to self, never take a blind person with you to go apprehend some items.
Funny one. Next question. Next question for you is, what is something you wish you could do every single day?
Horse riding.
Oh, tell me why.
Always grew up around them. My grandfather and my uncle were both harness racers in Australia for a lot of years, and I've just always had a bit of a connection with horses and animals in general, but I would happily spend every day of my life on the back of a horse.
When was the last time that you've been in touch with the horse?
It's been a while now, probably about 2 years now.
I see. Right, next question. Before the next one, tell me, I'm gonna come to Tasmania, to visit Tasmania state for the very first time. What would be your best piece of advice to guide me through this trip?
Stick to out of the cities. All the best things in Tasmania are in all the little towns.
They are very unique, different.
Yeah, every little town in Tasmania is just entirely different from the last, and most of them have some pretty interesting backstories, particularly as Tassie was built on a convict nation. So there's always some sort of little bit of interesting history in every little area.
I see. Good one. Next question is, do you have any pet peeves?
I have a pet peeve for OCD people. It drives me up the wall when everything has to be precise all the time.
Good one.
My partner has a particular way of doing the washing and things like that. It's like, chuck it all in there, throw some soap in there, it's done.
Easy. Next question. Dale from Tasmania. Next question for you is, if you could ask for a miracle, what that would be?
In this day and age, no COVID-19.
Please.
I want travel back.
And what's the situation right now in Tasmania or in Australia regarding the COVID crisis?
It's ramping up again at the moment. So it's getting quite bad again, mostly with the Omicron variant. So obviously the illness is not as bad, but case numbers are going wild. We've got New South Wales on the east coast of Australia is going up by 40, 50,000 cases a day.
Wow. Wow.
Thankfully, not that high here in Tasmania, but Tassie, we're going up probably around 1,200 cases a day at the moment.
Wow. Yeah, fingers crossed that things gonna get better soon.
Oh God, yeah.
Next one. Before the next one, as you're saying about the COVID crisis, so far since 2020, when it happened for the very first time, what's the most positive thing you took out of this challenge journey?
Probably seeing my own state. I'm normally one for sort of travel a bit as much as possible and see my family around Australia, but because of the lockdowns and border closures, I haven't been able to, but I've been able to see, dozens of new places around Tasmania that I've either wanted to go to or never even heard of before, and sort of found more of what I love about where I live.
See. Okay, next question for you is, look, I think I'm gonna skip this one. Look, see if you can see.
Yeah, we know the answer to that one.
Yes, for sure. I'm gonna change this question. Dale, what did you want to be growing up?
I always wanted to be a forensic pathologist.
Wow. And why
Always
is
had a
that?
thing for crime.
Interesting. Right, I have 3 questions left for you, okay? Let's do it. Dale, next question for you is, what do you miss the most from your childhood and why?
Probably just being a child, no inhibitions, not afraid of anything, nothing holds you back, say what you feel. Turns out once you become an adult, you get a filter on your mouth and you worry about everything.
I think remember being a child that sometimes the Christmas and your birthday, it took so long to arrive. I remember being a child like, oh my God, my birthday. And nowadays, it just goes with a blink of your eyes, isn't it? Just like this. Time goes so fast.
These days, my age is decreasing, not increasing.
Yeah, not worrying. My God, I remember you have no worries at all. You just wake up, have a day full of joy, full of happiness, and that's it. Nowadays, it's different stories for sure.
That's it. Like you look at what you see on the news daily, no matter where you are these days, and it just makes you think. With things like this when I was a kid, and I just didn't care or didn't pay attention because I had no interest in the news. I wanted the cartoons. Or is this how life's always been?
Absolutely. 2 questions left. Let's do it. Next question, Dave, for you is, what is the most memorable lesson you learned from your parents?
That is a very hard one. I've learned a lot from my parents over the years. I think it's an odd in a way, but probably respect. It was something that my parents were always very strong on, is that doesn't matter who you are talking to, whether you see them as above or below you, everyone deserves equal respect.
Very good point. Very good point. Ready for the last one? You're so easy to answer your question, Dave. I could go over and on for another hour here with you, for sure, easily. Next question. Before the last question now, I believe you are gay, aren't you?
Yes.
And did you always have the support of your family being gay?
Yes and no. I came out to my family when I was about 16 years old, to my mother first in a text message when she was far away from me. Little did I know that one of my mum's friends that I had spent time with when I was a little kid was actually her gay friend. So mum had no issues. My sister had no issues with it. At first I thought my father wasn't the biggest fan of it, but in the end it sort of came down to he was more concerned about what could potentially happen to me from, I guess, a public point of view than actually being concerned about what I had told him. But these days, although we live over 3,000 kilometres from each other, we've got a great relationship. There's no issues. We talk all the time. So I guess, yeah, it has been accepting.
And when the day when you came out, why did you decide to come out? Was like something that happened at the time, or you just felt, okay, it's my time now, I'd like to be free, I'd like to express myself? Tell me why the reason.
I think I had known for a few years prior to it that I was gay, and it made it difficult when, like, my mother's always been my best friend, and having someone that close to you and them actually not knowing a big part about your life, which is why essentially I wanted to tell Mum first. And I'd taken her out to lunch twice to tell her in person. The first time Dad came along unannounced, I was like, no, not doing it. The second time, like, right, gotta get this done. And I chickened out, I couldn't. And the next weekend, Mum was away on a conference, about an hour and a half away. So I decided text message was a great option.
Very good. Last question for you is, if you could be any age, what age do you choose and why?
Probably 18. Probably terrible time, but I guess I'm old enough to drive, I'm old enough to drink and get into trouble, so time to learn some life lessons.
Very interesting. Okay, Dale, it's not the end yet. Okay, let's play now the word association game. I'm going to give away some words and you just tell one word that comes to your mind. Quick thinking, okay? Let's start with money.
Cash.
Family.
Love.
How about life?
Depressing.
One word for love.
I actually have no idea. Nothing's even coming to mind, aside from a cat.
It's love anyway. One word for sex.
Fun.
Politics.
Confusing.
Can be religion.
Non-existent.
Okay. Fear.
Anger.
Friendship.
Caring.
Desire.
Unattainable.
One word for regret.
The last 2 years.
One word for success.
Happiness.
One word for wish.
Dream.
How about happiness?
Smile.
Smile, okay? One word for Tasmania.
Two-headed.
And the last one now, Australia.
Kangaroo.
Oh, sweet, sweet. Let's pretend now I'm going to meet your lovely partner for a coffee. And I'm going to ask your lovely partner, tell me the most beautiful thing about Dale and tell me something that he still needs to improve on, to work on. What do you think your partner will tell you?
Probably likes the humor and wishes I would be more organized.
If I would ask the same question to your lovely mom, would be the same answer?
Probably, yeah. I think there's a pattern here.
Let's play now Dale and the Magic Box, and you can ask me a question. Okay, Dale, you can ask me a question now.
Okay. What is the best joke you've ever heard?
My God, guess what? I've done interviews with around 500 people around the globe, and nobody asked me this question yet. Wow, I love it. Okay, so now you put me in the spot. Now I'm gonna have a think. The best joke I ever heard. Oh my God. My aunt, she was telling, it was about a couple. I don't remember exactly what was the joke, but it was about I remember now. Oh my God, that's going to be a bit. I don't know if I can tell this word. It's a bit tricky one. Anyway, it's quite silly as well. The joke was, she said that her neighbor, she was living in a farm. Her neighbor was married, yeah, and and her husband, sorry, his wife was cheating on her, yeah, and suddenly when he came back home earlier, she was in the fields with her lover in the fields. But the field was quite high, like the grass was quite high, so he could see her. I know it's terrible, this joke. So the husband just could see his wife like up to here because the field was quite big, and she was having some kind of interaction with her lover. You know what I mean? And suddenly, and so I don't remember what was the joke. What was her husband was telling her, but she was moving and she was he was asking a question and she was like, oh yes, everything's fine, and he was asking another question, she was like, oh yes, everything's cool, because she was having an interaction with her lover. So you already can know, I don't need to tell details, but she was having interaction, she didn't want to stop, and she was kind of moving herself and answered the same question to her husband. I know it's terrible, but I remember my aunt telling me this story and I was like, oh my God, I was so shy at the time when she was telling that.
I like her sense of humor.
Oh my God, and I could tell you so many now, but yeah, I don't remember. She was telling all the time when I was going to her house, she had something inappropriate to say, like an appropriate joke, and always was around sex, for sure. I remember her.
Yeah, most of mine are too.
William
Sex and innuendo.
Will in the Magic Box Season 2, I'm going to invite you again. I'm going to ask you to tell me a joke, okay?
Deal.
Right, Dale, before, by the way, did you have a good time? Did you enjoy the interview?
I did.
Thanks so much. Thanks for taking the time early morning, my God, for doing this, taking the time very early morning on your work day for the interview. I feel very lucky. But before Before you go, I would like to share a positive message or a positive quote, something that inspires in life.
Let's see. Life is too short to be serious all the time. So if you can't laugh at yourself, call me. I'll laugh at you.
Beautiful, sweet, I love that. Before you go, tell me a little bit about your tattoos. I can see you have a tattoo here in your fingers.
Yes. I had a bet with a friend a few years ago. Before I changed into the farming industry, I was working in hospitality, and I was bet that I would never tattoo my hands whilst working in hospitality, because in Australia there's a lot of people that would not necessarily hire you because if you had visible tattoos. So I went and got them done the next day.
What says in your tattoo?
Such is life.
Beautiful, beautiful one. Dale, thanks so much. Enjoy your day, and we keep in touch, okay? Thanks so much for the interview. It was a pleasure having you here. Thanks so much.
No worries. Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye. So, did you like the show? Don't forget to give a like, to share it, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to be part of the show as well, first, subscribe to our channel, and after that, just go to our website, www.williamandthemagicbox.com, and send us a request saying why you'd like to be part of the show. And I see you there. Bye bye, see you next time.